Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes here and thank you for joining me for today's Terror Vision review. I felt like doing something quick and easy today, so I dipped into one of my What's New Scooby-Doo volume sets. So today's review is going to be of Season 3, Episode 4, titled Wrestle Maniacs. No, this is not the episode here on the cover, but this is the set that houses the episode. I have recently done my first review of Scooby-Doo content on my channel here, and I'm a massive Scooby-Doo fan, so it was something that I was looking forward to doing, but I wasn't sure how it was really gonna go down and be received, but I was pleasantly surprised with how well received it was, so sort of just gave me the confidence to go, okay, people are happy to hear about Scooby-Doo content, because I'm sure if people watching here, we're all horror fans, Scooby-Doo is sort of up that alley, and it's something that we can all vibe with, so I'm happy that the first time I spoke about Scooby-Doo was well received. So that's what we're going to be doing again here today. So like I said, Season 3, Episode 4, titled Wrestle Maniacs. You can probably just tell from the title there, this is a wrestling-themed episode. So the gang travel to an indie wrestling show, but upon arrival, the superstars do not want to get in the ring because they have recently been under attack by this monster known as the Titanic Twist. And because it is Scooby-Doo, the gang form a plan to try and figure out who's behind the mask of the Titanic Twist and what's going on with this mystery. So, as I said, pretty straightforward plot, wrestling themed here. Just because this is the first episode of What's New Scooby-Doo that I'm reviewing here on my channel, I'm going to just try and say it once in this review. I'll probably forget some point down the track if I ever come back to What's New Scooby-Doo, but hopefully I just remember to get it out of the way now, one and done. But the theme song to What's New Scooby-Doo is straight fucking fire. It is one of my all-time favorite theme songs to any show ever. But it is so fucking catchy. It encapsulates the early 2000s. It's performed by Simple Plan. It's one of the fucking greatest theme songs of all time. Just wanted to clear that up, but again, if I do a review of another What's New Scooby-Doo episode down the track, I know I'm going to forget and just bring it up again because it's so fucking good. Another thing that I just want to briefly mention before I get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, I don't know if I've ever said this before on my channel, but I am a massive wrestling fan. Had to put on one of my wrestling shirts just for this video, the Bloodline, WWE, I acknowledge. I just fucking love wrestling. Like, it's crazy how much, like, I talk about here in forms of, like, horror content and things like that, but there's still just such a big part of my life that I don't talk about, and one of those big parts just happens to be wrestling. Like, I know a lot about wrestling, and so many times, like, I just feel like I could talk about it for ages like I am now and just ramble on, but that's not what I do here on my channel. But having a Scooby-Doo themed wrestling themed episode is just fucking awesome. Two things that I love: Scooby-Doo, wrestling, put them into one. And this has always been one of my favorite episodes of What's New Scooby-Doo growing up watching the show, so this was a fun one to revisit. Now getting into the episode and breaking that down a little bit more. The wrestling setting and theme in this episode is really cool. Obviously it's a very novice explanation and breakdown and things like that of wrestling, because it's Scooby-Doo. Your target audience is probably between the ages of like 5 and 10, and I'm quite far out of that bracket, so for me to say, oh, they don't do a deep explanation of what wrestling is and breaking it down and stuff like that, it's not targeted for me. So I think they actually do a pretty good job of like showing fun gimmicks. You've got a guy dressed as like a bug, you've got this hillbilly lumberjack guy, you've got a mad scientist character. They have fun with the gimmicks that are there with the wrestlers around the gang. They do a good balance of keeping it between kayfabe. If you're a wrestling fan, you'll know what kayfabe means. But then also the reality of wrestling, again, through the eyes of explaining it to someone between the ages of 5 and 10. But I like how it's depicted in, this format, 10 minutes. I think it's a pretty good explanation. In the intro of this episode, so if you know how What's New Scooby-Doo, the usual format of an episode, it's sort of like a little cold open. It opens with like an attack from the monster. The gang usually aren't there yet, and that's sort of the gist of it. In the intro of this one, there is a wrestling superstar who is dressed as a bird, and he's doing this entrance on a zip line, and then the Titanic twist, the monster attacks him, and he falls from the zip line into the ring. Again, this might be really niche, but if you are a wrestling fan, that kind of reminded me of Owen Hart. If you don't know Owen Hart, he is a wrestler that that very thing kind of actually happened. Not exactly, a monster didn't attack him, but in the WWE or WWF at the time, he was under the gimmick the Blue Blazer, which was somewhat bird-like, and he was on a cord way above the ring, and something went wrong and he fell to his death, unfortunately. In this one, the wrestler does not die or anything, but just the similarities there, I was like, oh, that's a bit, like, obviously not intentional, but I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But anyway, moving on, because no one wants to hear about fucking wrestling history, I'll try and get back into the episode. The Titanic Twist is a fucking awesome monster. He's one of my favourite monsters from the What's New Scooby-Doo era. I love his name. I think the name's really cool, Titanic Twist. I love his design, the look. He's like this grotesque, twisted, purple man that is like mutated. He's got 2 arms on one side of his body. He's fucking awesome. He's got like the wrestling shorts on. I fucking love it. The boots, really, really cool. And then the best part about this character, which I totally forgot about, is the lore behind the Titanic Twist. So apparently the Titanic Twist, it was it's not named after the person, it's named after a finishing move. So it's like the submission hold where it was only done once, and the person that it was done on got like mutated and like disformed, and then sort of shunned away from the company. So then when he eventually died, now this is his monster resurrected to get revenge. And I'm like, that is so fucking cool. And as I said, it plays into the name, it plays into the look. I love the Titanic Twist. It's so fucking cool. Easily one of the best monsters from What's New Scooby-Doo, in my opinion. The reveal of who is behind the Titanic Twist, it's kind of dumb. But again, it's fucking Scooby-Doo, so what are you going to do? I love this era of What's New Scooby-Doo and their chase scenes and the montage sequences and the songs used. The songs used in the chase sequences through this era of Scooby-Doo are all usually pretty solid. The one in this episode, again, really solid. It's not one of the ones that comes to mind straight away, but the chase sequence in itself is pretty fun. I don't really have anything else to say about this episode. Again, when you're talking about an episode that goes for 10 minutes and it's Scooby-Doo, it's a pretty basic formula. There's not really much to go into, but again, I think the wrestling theme is fun. I like how, again, through a novice explanation, they go into gimmicks, they go into like a nice balance of reality and kayfabe and things like that. The gang really aren't given that much to do. It's fun to see Daphne and Velma get into the ring, particularly Velma. She has like a move that she calls like the Flying Dinkley, which, I don't know, that just made me laugh. But, for what it is, this is a fun episode because it's got a theme that I enjoy. So, for Wrestle Maniacs, as I said, Season 3, Episode 4 of What's New Scooby-Doo, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. And again, when I do these episodes, guys, it's all relative kind of just to the show's standards. So, I might be reviewing a much better show and, one of their episodes down the track, but I'm doing it in comparison to its own show. It's not going to be against Scooby-Doo because, but for Scooby-Doo's, What's New Scooby-Doo standards, about a 7 out of 10. I'd enjoy this episode. So there you go, guys. Like I said, these reviews will normally be a little bit shorter. I'm about to pass over the 10-minute mark, so I better wrap it up. So thank you for joining me, guys. Again, just show me support or any form of encouragement if you do like Scooby-Doo content. It's not going to become a Scooby-Doo channel or anything, but as I said, just to kill a fucking few minutes and have you guys something to watch, might as well. So thank you, guys. Appreciate the support as always, and I'll see you guys soon.